paraphrasing a San Francisco poem that I very much, Richard Brodigan, it's like, we just like descended on these agencies like a chapter out of the Old Testament. With just petition after petition after petition to protect endangered species, and then litigation to back that up to ensure species got protected, and then real intensive media work to get the message out to the public about what was happening to endangered species. And so now, 26 years later, here we are, and the center's protected over 500 species since then. Many of them are pictured on this wall as you walk around. The California red-legged frog is one, the gray wolf, the Alaskan sea otter, the beluga whale, polar bear, jaguar, three-spined stickleback back here, one of my very favorites from Southern California. Incredibly beautiful species. But you'll often hear anti-ESA Republicans say, well, they only passed that Endangered Species Act because they thought it was going to protect whales and bald eagles, and they didn't know it was going to protect all these little creatures. Even people have been abusing that. Well, that's sort of horseshit. The three-spined stickleback right there was one of the very first species on the endangered species list. And Congress changed the older, weaker Endangered Species Act precisely to say, let's go and protect uncharismatic species like plants and vertebrates that were not covered by that act, and it was expressly all about protecting a whole suite of biological diversity, not just the charismatic species. And that's been really, I think, a hallmark of the center. One of the things I'm most proud about is that we work on every creature, great or small, because we believe that they're all equal and deserving of protection. We don't just focus on charismatic species. Behind you there is that the Salt Creek tiger beetle?
Yeah,
Kierán, yeah, Salt Creek tiger beetle, Nebraska. That species we look at. As I like to say sometimes, we were a law firm. Most of our clients are less than 6 inches tall.
Give them some protein.
Yes, they don't pay very well. They're incredibly inspiring. And they all have this amazing role in this plant to protect. The center also in this time period has protected over 470 million acres of land as wildlife habitat. And these designations, range, from on the order of 100 million acres for something like the polar bear to 3 or 4 acres for an endangered plant. That's the last place it lives. And that plant needs those 4 acres just as much as the polar bear needs 100 million acres. And protecting those 4 acres is just as important if that's what this species needs to survive. And so 26 years, I'm also proud to say that the center is still almost manically, obsessively focused on taking real actions in real time to save species. And we just have a super high focus on taking the actions to get things done rather than spending our time going from meeting to meeting and just being part of the system. So just give a sense of that. I was just looking on our website to see how many press releases the center has sent out this week on our actions. And,
you count that high?
The number it was 11. But bizarrely, there was nothing on Monday. I was very upset about this. I actually started an investigation. I was sure something was amiss, and I was told it was Labor Day. And it's okay, because we're going to work twice as hard on Christmas for Monday's terrible. Terrible acquiescence to extinction. So, in the last 3 days, the Senator sent out 11 press releases. Here's are just some of the things that we worked on. I have to get out the glasses now. I'm sure that lady from New York is really mocking me. Okay. All right, so beginning on Tuesday, right? We want a court order upholding a decision, a very controversial, long-range decision, to not build a road in the Eisenbeck National Wildlife Refuge and Wilderness Area in Alaska. Long-running, this has been like on the right-wing hit list for like 20 years. It goes on and on. The center, a few years ago, opened up an Alaska office, an Alaska program, after working in Alaska from afar for many years, and it's really exciting to be up in Alaska doing this kind of work. On Wednesday, we won through a legal decision a federal recovery plan for the dusky gopher frog in Mississippi and Louisiana. The center, not only do we have I believe the only lawyer in the world completely dedicated to just litigating for reptiles and amphibians, we have the only 2 lawyers in the world completely dedicated to litigating for reptiles and amphibians. And they really do an awesome job. And amphibians just are on just the front line of extinction. You'll often hear that today species are going extinct about 1,000 times faster than natural rate, which is true. Amphibians are going extinct about 20 to 30,000 times faster than natural background rate. So it's an extraordinary problem worldwide. Something the center works on a lot. We want an agreement forcing the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to review and issue a decision of whether to list the black-capped petrel as an endangered species that lives off the Atlantic coast. Unfortunately, is now threatened by the Obama administration having issued a decision to open up the Atlantic coast to offshore oil drilling. Offshore drilling has been banned off the Atlantic coast for decades, and the Obama administration now has made that, has opened that up, and so that's a big threat to this species. We want an agreement to get the Fish and Wildlife Service to review the Western Glacier stonefly as an endangered species. It lives in Glacier National Park, and it only lives on glaciers. And so Glacier, it only has 25 glaciers left of about 150 glaciers that existed there in around 1850. It's predicted at the current trend, all the glaciers up there could disappear within 15 years. So we have a glacier national park without any glaciers at all. It's really on the front line of climate change, and as so many species are going extinct from climate change, this Western Glacier stonefly is one that will perhaps be the next one to go if we're not able to stop global warming. The center has done a huge amount of work on global warming. We started the Climate Law Institute at the center, maybe a decade ago now or so. Our director is Cassie Sibo. Is she around? If you don't see her, it's because she's back there suing somebody. Don't disturb her. And has done really an extraordinary job with this program. The program is just a wealth of actions it's doing. But one of the keys to the program is this. Early on, when such a tremendous amount of effort was put into trying to pass a new climate bill, we looked at that and we thought, well, the chances of passing one soon are slim. If one does pass, the chances of it being watered down are pretty high. And so while we need one and we support one and we're pressuring governments to sign one, we're not waiting for a new climate bill. We've taken the position that all of our existing laws already empower us to take action for climate. And the climate law has done just a tremendous job of litigating under long-standing laws. Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, National Environmental Policy Act, California Environmental Quality Act, to set case law showing that these laws require us to start reining in our greenhouse gas emissions. And they have been just an amazing driving force in the just explosion of opposition to fracking in California the last few years. It's been really amazing what's happening here in California. It's been an inspiration to activists all over the country to fight fracking. So we're only on Tuesday. Okay. Moving on to Wednesday. We got a settlement with the Fish and Wildlife Service to review 7 freshwater species in the southeast for endangered species protection. Now the southeast is like the great backwater of conservation in this country. It's unbelievably biologically diverse, extraordinarily diverse. It's ground zero for extinction in the continental U.S. And there just are very few environmental groups down there, very little funding for environmental work. It's sort of a place that everybody forgot. And so we've started a big program down there. We've opened up an office in Florida, and we've got a huge focus on freshwater species down there because they're really on the front line of what's going down in the southeast. And they're really showing, in fact, there's 7 species. There's 7 fish down there. I forget their names, but the really cool one is the mussel. Right? There's this mussel, the yellow lynx, and mussels in the southeast are extraordinary. There are more mussels in the Tennessee River, more mussel species in the Tennessee River than all of Europe combined. It's the epicenter of mussel diversity in the world, and mussels are just these amazing, beautiful, underappreciated species. And one of the things I like most about them is how they have evolved to stay in the rivers. Because, mussels have this problem, right? They don't have legs. So they're living in a river, right? The river's just pouring down and down and down. So the river's pushing the mussels downstream all the time. And they can't walk back upstream. And so if this continued to happen, the mussels would just get all pushed out of the river. So the mussels had to figure out a way how to get back upstream without having little legs or feet. And they found an extraordinary way to do this. So what they do is, with all that little mucousy stuff, mussels, they send out this little mucousy little thing, and then it forms a little shape at the end. And that little shape looks exactly like the favorite prey species of a very specific, unique type of fish. And so that fish comes and sees this prey and grabs it, right? Now the mussels can be up to 10 feet away, just lure all the way to it, and then it just reels it in.
Oh my God.
The mussel flies up to the fish and then sprays its eggs onto the gills of the fish, and then the fish swims upstream. And then when it's far enough upstream, somehow, magically, they know it's time to fall off. Fall off, land in the exact habitat they want, and then take off from there. I mean, it's just, it's
and people think they're smart.
Yes, and people think humans are smart. It's just extraordinary what they do. Now, the problem, of course, is when we dammed all the rivers up there, blocking the fish passage, and we're driving all the native fish extinct. Because when they put out that lure, it attracts a very specific fish. And if that fish goes extinct, there's nothing come for that.